Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be focusing on the latest activity up on the International Space Station.
And just in time, because the SpaceX Dragon is about to splash down tomorrow.
Oh, wow. So it's bringing back a bunch of research, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, over 6,200 pounds worth of really valuable stuff from experiments and hardware and things like that.
Okay, so this is more than a routine, milk run up to the space station.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a big deal. Scientists are really excited about this. It's going to have, they're hoping for advancements in robotics, satellite technology, human health, all sorts of things.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So when is it expected to splash down?
Well, it's scheduled for Friday, December 6th.
Okay.
They had to delay it just a little bit because there was some pretty bad weather at the landing site.
Oh, sure.
Off the coast of Florida. But everything's back on track now.
So NASA's going to be covering it live, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You can watch it all starting at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Friday.
So set your alarm.
Yeah.
But while we're waiting, what's going on the ISS?
Oh, a lot.
I bet.
All of the crew, they're called Expedition 72, are really busy getting Dragon ready for its return.
So I'm guessing it's a lot more complicated than just throwing everything in a duffel bag and zipping it up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot more like packing a moving van, but doing it in space.
Oh, wow.
So, things have to be really carefully secured to make sure they can survive re-entry.
Yeah.
So they're packing up all sorts of, science freezers.
Okay.
They're packing up experiment samples and these powered lockers. They're basically these climate-controlled units for storing sensitive equipment.
Okay, so these powered lockers keep everything, safe and stable for the experiments.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's I'm curious. So who is involved in this packing process? Who's doing what?
Sure. So the commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, she started her day installing the Space Automated Lab Incubator inside Dragon.
I vaguely remember that. Can you remind me what that is?
Sure. Yeah. It keeps biological samples at really, really specific temperatures so that scientists can study how cells and tissues respond to being in space.
So it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's super important, yeah.
What about the other astronauts?
Right, so Nick Hague and Butch Wilmore are also up there with her. And they're working alongside her to make sure that everything is ready for the trip back to Earth.
Makes sense. But they're not just packing, right?
No, definitely not.
What else is keeping them busy?
So they're also, thinking about things like future spacewalks.
Oh, wow.
In fact, Williams and Hague have actually been working in the Quest airlock, resizing a spacesuit and replacing components.
So it's multitasking, on a whole other level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, so it's not just NASA up there, right?
Right.
Roscosmos is involved too, right?
Yeah, Roscosmos is super involved in keeping the ISS running.
Okay, and so what are the Russian crew doing right now?
Well, let's see. The flight engineer, Alexander Gorbanov, he's been unpacking cargo from the Progress 90 cargo craft, which just delivered almost 3 tons of supplies to the station.
3 tons?
Yeah.
What's in there?
Pretty much everything you can imagine.
Okay.
Food, water, propellant, spare parts, even new science experiments for the crew to work on.
So it's like a giant care package from Earth.
Yeah, pretty much. The lifeline to make sure they have everything they need to stay up there.
Wow, I had no idea how much coordination and activity was happening up on the space station.
Yeah, it's a lot. And all of this, of course, while they're preparing those amazing research samples to come back down on Dragon.
You've got me really curious.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about some of the research that's coming back?
Oh, all kinds of really cool things. There are things about robotics. There are new, satellite capture techniques where they're actually using, gecko-like adhesive pads.
Gecko-like?
Mm-hmm.
How does that even work?
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So scientists have, they've been studying geckos for a while now and how they can, stick to surfaces even upside down.
Yeah.
And it turns out it all has to do with these tiny microscopic hairs on their feet called setae.
Okay.
And these setae, they create what are called van der Waals forces, which allow geckos to stick to basically anything.
So they're mimicking nature to develop new technologies.
Yeah, exactly. Scientists have developed these synthetic adhesives that are inspired by gecko feet, and they can grip and release things even in the vacuum of space.
Oh, wow. So what does that mean for satellites?
Oh, it could mean a lot.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to to grab onto a satellite for repairs or to refuel it or even to move it to a different orbit.
Oh, wow.
Or, even use these to, like, capture space junk.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of some of the debris that's up there.
It's like science fiction becoming reality up there.
Right. And this is just one example.
Yeah.
Of the incredible stuff that's happening on the ISS.
So all this research is coming back. Like, what does it mean for us here on Earth?
Well, it could mean a lot. I mean, there could
Wow.
be advancements in robotics, material science, even just in terms of like human biology, the effects of long duration space travel, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like they're studying how the body adapts to microgravity,
Right.
and that could lead to treatments for conditions like osteoporosis, muscle wasting, things like that.
So space exploration is helping us here on Earth in ways that we might not even think about.
Absolutely. And it just shows that, investing in scientific research, even if you don't immediately see a practical application,
Right.
it can lead to some really amazing discoveries.
Yeah, because who knows what we're going to find.
Exactly. And that's what makes all of this so exciting.
Yeah.
It's the pursuit of knowledge for the sake of knowledge, trying to unravel these mysteries.
Yeah, and just always looking for new breakthroughs that could change everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got this Dragon spacecraft that's about to splash down.
Mm-hmm.
We've got cosmonauts up there working on communication systems. We've got astronauts getting ready for spacewalks.
Yeah.
It seems like there's never a dull moment.
Definitely not. It's really all thanks to everyone's hard work and dedication. The astronauts, the scientists, the engineers, all the people back on Earth,
Yeah.
They all work together to make this happen.
It's truly an amazing endeavor what's happening up there.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna wrap up this first part of our deep dive on the ISS.
Sounds good. But we'll be back soon to talk more about spacewalks and these fascinating little things called CubeSats.
Wow, that's gonna be an incredible journey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, those CubeSats we were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, Don Pettit's actually been getting them ready to be launched from the Kiva Lab module.
Okay, so it's not just about bringing stuff back. They're sending stuff up, too.
Oh, yeah.
What are these CubeSats? What kind of research are they doing?
CubeSats are really, really cool. They're basically these, like, tiny little satellites.
Okay.
Think of, like, a loaf of bread size.
Okay.
But they're packed with all of this, like, amazing technology.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more affordable than traditional satellites.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it means that, smaller universities and even private companies can get involved with space research.
So it's like democratizing space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can do all sorts of things.
Okay, like what?
Well, some of them are looking at Earth,
Okay.
studying things like climate change, weather patterns, deforestation, things like that.
Wow.
Others are actually pointed out towards space,
Okay.
studying like distant stars and galaxies.
So they're doing everything.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing what they can pack into such a small package.
I bet. It must be hard to design, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like just fitting everything in.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. I mean, they have to have sensors, communication systems, a power source, all in that tiny little space.
Yeah.
Plus, they have to be able to withstand like the radiation and the extreme temperatures of space.
Right.
So it's really impressive what the engineers have been able to do.
So it's like cramming an entire lab into like a shoebox.
Yeah, pretty much.
Besides the size, are there any other limitations?
Well, of course, there are always limitations.
Right.
For example, because they're so small, they can't generate as much power as a larger satellite.
Right.
And that limits the types of instruments that they can carry.
Yeah.
But, they're still incredibly valuable for certain types of research.
Right. It's like any tool, use the right tool for the job. Speaking of which, we were talking earlier about those spacewalks that are coming up.
Yeah.
What will Williams and Hague be doing out there?
So spacewalks, they're officially called extravehicular activities, or EVAs, are really like the ultimate test for an astronaut.
I bet.
It takes so much skill and so much precision.
Yeah.
I mean, you're stepping out of your spacecraft into the vacuum of space.
Right.
You've only got your spacesuit to protect you from the radiation, the temperatures, everything.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's incredible. So for these upcoming spacewalks, it looks like they're going to be focusing on a lot of maintenance tasks.
Okay.
Things like resizing spacesuits, replacing components, things like that.
Okay.
Really just, laying the groundwork for future spacewalks and making sure that everything is working properly.
Okay, so it's like routine maintenance to keep the space station going.
Yeah, exactly.
I always forget how much technology goes into those spacesuits.
Oh, they're amazing.
It's like they're like a personal spacecraft all by themselves.
Right, they have to provide oxygen, they regulate temperature, protect the astronauts from radiation and micrometeoroids.
Oh, wow.
They even have built-in communication systems.
Right.
They're incredible.
And they've come a long way from the first spacesuits.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing how far we've come.
Yeah, it's true. And it's important to remember that, every spacewalk we do, every experiment we conduct, it's all building on the knowledge and experience of those who came before us.
It's like standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're waiting for Dragon to splash down, and we're, anxious to hear about the research.
Yeah.
But, for you personally, what are you most excited about?
I think the robotics research is really fascinating.
Okay, and that's more than just those Astro Bee robots that we see floating around, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's about developing robots that can, repair satellites, remove space debris, even assist astronauts during spacewalks.
Right.
Imagine a robot that could go out and fix a damaged solar panel.
Yeah.
Or, clear a path through a debris field.
It's like straight out of a science fiction movie.
It is. But it's also really challenging.
Oh, I bet.
Getting a robot to operate autonomously in microgravity, withstand radiation, all of those things.
Yeah.
It's tough. But the potential benefits are huge. I mean, robots could really help us do things in space that are just too dangerous or too time-consuming for humans.
Right.
So that frees up the astronauts to focus on things like research and exploration.
Yeah, so we're basically extending our capability.
Exactly.
What about those gecko pads?
Right.
For the satellites.
Yeah. So that's a really cool example of biomimicry,
right,
where we're basically taking inspiration from nature.
Okay.
And so these synthetic adhesives, they can grip and release on command even in space.
So how would they use that?
Well, you could imagine a satellite that could grab onto another satellite that needed repairs,
right,
or refuel it, or even move it to a new orbit,
right,
or grab onto space junk and pull it out of orbit.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's a really versatile technology.
Yeah, I love that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, just looking to nature to find these solutions.
Yeah, it's amazing. Nature has had millions of years to evolve these solutions.
Yeah.
So we can learn a lot from it.
So besides, robotics and satellite technology, what else are you looking forward to hearing about?
Well, the biological research is really interesting.
Yeah.
By studying how the body adapts to being in space for long periods of time,
right,
we can learn a lot about fundamental biological processes. And that could even lead to new treatments for diseases here on Earth.
So it's not just about, going to space and exploring space. It's also about understanding ourselves better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this research, it's also helping to pave the way for future human exploration.
It's, missions to the moon, to Mars, and beyond.
Okay. Yeah.
What we're learning about microgravity, radiation, isolation, all of that
right,
is going to be really crucial for planning these long-duration missions.
It's a really exciting time to be following space exploration.
Yeah, it is.
But I think, for now, let's bring it back to the ISS.
Yeah.
And all of the international collaboration that goes into making all of this possible.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think about, all the different countries coming together to work on the ISS.
It really is. I mean, it's kind of a shining example of what humans can do when we all work together.
Yeah. Especially with all the things happening down here on Earth.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh.
The ISS actually involves 5 different space agencies.
Wow.
From 15 different countries.
Oh, wow.
So you have all these scientists, engineers, astronauts, and all of their support teams from all over the world.
Yeah.
Working together up there. It's incredible. So how do they manage all that coordination and communication?
Well, it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of commitment to advancing science and exploration.
Yeah.
And this collaborative spirit, it's not just about the technical side of things.
Right.
It also extends to the research itself. A lot of the experiments involve teams from multiple countries.
So we're talking about like scientists from different backgrounds, different cultures, different perspectives all coming together
Yeah,
to advance knowledge.
it's a true melting pot of ideas and expertise.
Yes.
And that's really what fuels innovation.
Yeah. I think it's a really beautiful example of what human collaboration can achieve.
Yeah, I agree.
It also shows that science can transcend all of the borders and the politics that divide us down here.
Absolutely. Science is a universal language. It unites us in trying to understand the universe and our place in it.
Right.
And it really gives me hope for the future of space exploration,
Yeah.
knowing that we can do so much when we set aside our differences and work together.
I agree. The ISS, it's a symbol of what we can achieve.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you wonder what we could do if we applied that same collaborative spirit to other challenges here on Earth.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's a reminder that we're all connected.
We're all part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. And we all have this shared curiosity, this
Yeah.
desire to explore the unknown.
For sure.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive into the International Space Station.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating journey.
It has. We've talked about, all of the research, the experiments, the constant search for knowledge.
Yeah, and I hope that our listeners will not only be inspired by all the amazing science,
Yeah.
but also by the incredible collaboration
Yeah.
that makes it all possible.
The ISS is really a testament to what humans can do.
Yeah, when we work together.
Yeah. And as we, look ahead, there's talk about lunar bases and missions to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
This collaboration is going to be more important than ever.
Oh, absolutely. It's such an exciting time to be alive
Yeah.
and to see all this amazing stuff happening.
To be part of it.
Yeah, to be part of it.
And it all starts with this sense of wonder and curiosity.
Yeah, and remembering that we're all on this journey together.
Exactly. So thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the International Space Station. We hope you learned something new, and we hope you'll continue to explore with us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.